This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. Now, I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay. And we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. And no alley to be found. The coverage was solid, and he's dropped at the 18. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as a coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
Right back to Sanders on first down. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
And now the 3rd down throw incomplete as well. So on 4th down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. Back deep, 2-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. And a fair catch signaled for and taken at about the 18-yard line. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Bud Grant, but it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2.
Oh, he tries to force it in, and it's intercepted. Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, with a pick. And his guys are going to take over at the 39-yard line.
Brandon, I'm not going to tell him that you called him old in our pregame meeting, but this guy has been around a long time. If there's a trick in the book, he knows it. He probably even wrote a few chapters, and this is what he's always had. And that's a nose for the football. He's able to come away here with the interception.
The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game, then he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
throwing is far. Sanders has it over the middle. He'll get it inside the 20. And they're going to be set up down around the 15-yard line. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles. You and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
First and second down were a disaster. Both went backwards. Now it's 3rd and 18. They need something big. So we're through one at the Coliseum in Oakland. The NFC with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it with a 3rd down and long coming up. Now far. Open right side. And he's going to come up well shy of the first here as the tackle's made right around the 12. It's a gain of 11, but they're still well short. It's 4th down.
So much about this game is just understanding situations and then having to execute, isn't it? Guard the first down sticks. Don't let them get there. And they rallied and made the tackle.
Anderson's kick is good. And the NFC out to an early 3-0 lead. So, Charles, they get to them with their first turnover of the game and then make it hurt a little bit extra with a field goal.
And anytime you give the ball up, what's the first thing a coach tells his defense? Don't let them score off of this. You've got to put out the fire. In fact, in 2021, that's what one NFL coach termed his defense. The firemen. Go out there, guys, and don't let them put some points on the board.
Well, the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. Boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the run. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. They had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost.
He's got a man complete. And all the way inside the 15 before they drop it. A gain of 37. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning, that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. That throw by Brady, incomplete. Brady's incompletion on first down leads to a 2nd and 10. Back to throw again. Oh, that'll be incomplete. Well, he took a shot as he let that go. And it's going to bring up a 3rd down.
That was not a real confident throw right there, and he's just 2 of 7 to start the game. Now he's going to have to find a groove with a big 3rd down coming up. Let's see if his confidence can increase.
Again, they'll throw with Brady. He rifles one that's intercepted. Ryan Dawkins, the safety, with a pick. And to the 12. That's where it stops. The return is halted at the 12-yard line.
And when a team advances as far as they did, got over the 50-yard line, don't you think that drive deserved a better ending? I think he needs to get with his coaches on the sidelines, make some immediate adjustments, and that's what you do. You don't wait. You do it from series to series, because drives like that, that end with a turnover, that's multiple times they picked him up already in this opening half.
Throwing to start the drive, but that one incomplete. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback?
And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And he's going to take this one back to the 37-yard line.
You're looking there, the defensive back is maybe a step slower than he was when he came into the league a decade ago. I know I questioned his speed coming into the game, but what he's lost in speed, he's more than made up for it with intellect. And that's a great job of knowing how to position himself to make that interception.
And he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage and taken down. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half. Looking to throw on second down. Brady. He finds his man, complete. That's Gonzalez. Now another timeout called for by the offense as the clock will stop with 35 seconds to go in quarter number 2. Could we get a touchdown in this first half after all? It's 1st and 10. Brady. And Brady going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked off by Lawrence Taylor. And they are going to set up shop at the 40-yard line. A nightmare of a first half for him. That's now 3 interceptions. But Charles, with his talent, if anyone can shake this off and right the ship, it's him.
I agree, because you don't get to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Pressure, and the AFC gets to him for the sack. The safety blitz turns out to be offensively as they sack him for a loss of 9. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts. So as they take it over, we step aside. To at least get some of this yardage back after the sack. 2nd and 19. Favre. And that is incomplete. 16 seconds now on the clock.
And this drive is almost over before it began, thanks to a great defensive effort. Sack on 1st down, followed by an incompletion. One more good rep, and they get off the field.
This time they stay on the ground. And they'll indeed stop him on 3rd down. And now what do you want to do with your timeouts? Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half as they'll stop the clock with 12 seconds to go in this first half. Here's Mitch Wishnowski now on to punt. And the punt will kick out of bounds, and it'll be spotted inside the 30-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And with 7 seconds remaining, not much time to really do anything. And they're just going to run it here up the middle. And he'll just push his way forward for a few as the clock will run. We're coming up in the second half. We'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. And this will not be returned, so the second half begins with a touchback. They start the drive with a give to Allen. And he is going to lose yardage here. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, an instant success.
He really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. He did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. They'll wind up losing 8 on the sack there, and it's second down. Got to imagine the pass rush will be equally intense here on second down following the sack. It's 2nd and 18. Under pressure, they got him again. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Here's Hester. Call that a 44-yard punt, 5 on the return. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. That'll be caught by Rice. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. And he'll go down, and that will do it for the 3rd quarter of action. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden Legacy game. Back now here on EA Sports. The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. It's been a very hotly contested game to this point. Just a field goal separating these two teams as we get set for the 4th quarter. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11-on-11, and he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden, the video game, continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. Second down, and back they go to Sanders. And they'll bring him down at the 18-yard line. 2 yards on the pickup, and that's all they needed to move the sticks.
I think they like this drive a little bit better there, partner. Running game helping out, picking up some of the slack. Because remember the last drive, they went 3 and out.
So 2 minutes remain in the John Madden Legacy game. The NFC trying to hold on. And we're back to Oakland after this. Not totally home free yet, but it's looking good as they come up 1st and 10. Another run with Sanders. And they'll get him down right around the 16. And now right out of the 2-minute break, we'll get a timeout used defensively with 1:56 to go. This, in all probability, another run here on 2nd and 8. Sanders here as they run out of the gun. He will push his way down to about the 14. Now the AFC going to take a timeout. It's their second. That'll leave them with just 1 remaining in this 4th quarter of play. They are in need of 6 yards here if they hope to move the chains. To throw is Favre. And look at this. They get the turnover they needed. It's intercepted. Picked off by the 13-time Pro Bowler Ray Lewis. He's at the 50. He's at the 30. And they will be set up now as he brings this thing all the way back inside the 20. So that changes things, no doubt. We thought we might be on the verge of our initial score of the game, but after that interception.
The long return.
Yeah, then they had that long return, and now it's the other sideline who might be the first. And he can't get a throw off. He's taken down. At this point in the game. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming 2nd down play. Back to throw, Brady. It's Hill, complete. And he's going to be taken down here with a penalty flag on the field.
Holding, offense.
An unfortunate time for the penalty there. That cancels out a positive play from this offense.
Well, not to sound too trite or too accepting, but you and I both know it happens. You got to accept it and move on. Yardage, you got to get back. Focus on the next play and move on.
Meanwhile, Brady's throw caught by his receiver, Hill. And they're going to get this down inside the 20. They'll get to the line here, but remember, it's also 3rd down. And this is caught. Touchdown. And they've taken the lead here in the final minute.
So many practices we watched over time where the offense works on scoring late in the game and finding a way to win, as we just saw there.
Just saw it right there. Now can they preserve that advantage that they just got? Vinatieri connecting on the extra point, and that makes it a 7-3 lead. And it's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. And with time a factor here late, he'll just take a knee and they'll put it out to the 25. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. As this offense takes the field against CD. Remember, last drive, they were moving the football, but then they threw that costly interception, so we'll see if they can right the ship here on this drive.
And doesn't that just sum up football? We see it all the time, don't we? The defense goes from losing the battle to making a huge play and stealing the momentum. So you know they're riding high right now, and they're ready to challenge this offense and that quarterback one more time.
He's got him in, complete. And he'll be brought down at the 27. Now a final chance to stop it here as a timeout comes in with 10 seconds left in the game. So that changes things in a big way. Now from all the way down inside the 30, here's 1st and 10. And that is caught on the right sideline, but out of bounds, says the line judge. The throw took him a little too far at 2nd down. And a great game comes down to this. Time for one play, and they've got to get it in the end zone.
And I want every cover guy I've got in the game on defense, every extra defensive back who can make a play on the football. So whether it's nickel, dime, quarter, whatever you want to call it, I want 5.
And this is going to be intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore.
Pass interference. Defense.
So the defense helping him out a little bit here late in the 4th.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And when you're the one doing the chasing, you'll take a little help from the other guys, won't you?
One final shot. They'll look to throw. And this is going to be caught. It's caught. And they've won the football game.
Brandon, you know I love boxing, right? You know I love big fights, right? I had given them the standing 8 count a few times along the way. And look at how this one ended.
Yeah, they had, well, I guess 9 lives, just like a cat, kept fighting, and they're in the end making the huge play to get the game winner.
I guess that's the epitome of you always have a puncher's chance.
So what a finish to this ball game. The NFC able to pull it out in the end. And for all of us at EA Sports, one final look back as we say, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
Time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You could put yourself back on the game's biggest stage and raise that Lombardi in Super Bowl 56.